All right, we'll get this started. If you're here for finding the right idea for a profitable bootstrap business, you're in the right place. If you're not, you might need to go somewhere else. I'm Jesse Sutherland. Welcome. Let's see. I'm a designer, developer, founder, I don't really know what to call myself anymore, to be really honest. Maker of things works fine. That's all right with me. My background is I went to school for design and communication, and then I'm also a self-taught developer. It does that every once in a while. Did that through the last talk too, so get used to it. I worked at a creative agency named Morse Code for a number of years as a designer and developer, represent. Not called Morse Code anymore. But, and then I went freelance. So I've been freelancing now for 7 or 8 years. And through that time, I launched my first software as a service product. I already had a WordPress theme that was making some income. And at that time, my wife just said, all you need is the WordPress theme. You need like 7 more of those and you'll do fine. And so it's been a process, but I am now living off the income from my own products, which is pretty cool. I still do a little bit of client work. Hard to get away from that. But yeah, I can say that I've made a lot of different things. I know some things work, some things don't. So I'm going to try to share that with you today. So let's see. When I first went freelance, I also thought, I'm going to make a software as a service product. I'm going to make $1 million. It'll be awesome. And then, yeah, it wasn't quite that simple. Has anyone else tried it? It's really hard. It's really hard. So I guess who's this talk for? It's probably too simple. If you're like expert entrepreneur, startup person, then this is probably going to be pretty basic for you. So go with that. It's for like developers, designers, marketers, creators, whatever. If you're kind of wanting to make something or you just love making things, but you want to kind of up your game a little bit and maybe make something that could support you, support your family, all that kind of stuff. So like how many are developers? Okay. How many people have made a side project in the past? All right, that's good. So I guess the other question to figure out is like, what's your purpose, right? Like making things for fun is awesome. I love to make fun things. The question is like, after so long, you can make all these projects, and when nobody pays any attention to them and nobody pays for them, it can be kind of discouraging, right? So I found that while making fun things is great, I also want to push it a little bit to the next level and make a profit, right? Because it's really encouraging when people are asking you questions and they're giving you money and all this kind of stuff. It makes you work harder on the project. So, let's see. Yeah, we'll go with it. How do you find the right idea? That's the big question of the talk. You want to make some kind of project, website, software, something that could be profitable. There's lots of ideas, but how do you know which one is going to be the right one? You can make a lot of different things. That doesn't mean they're going to support you. So I thought this would be fun. I make a lot of different things. My friends just laugh when I start a new project. So let's get some practice. I want you guys, let's play the game. What pays the bills? Okay? So I want you to guess. I'm only going to show you 4 projects. I'm not going to get out all of them. But we're going to guess which one you think is actually like 90% of my income right now. So we'll get started. I'm going to take a drink first. I got to slow down. Build the anticipation. All right, so the first one, it's called Tally Count. It's a web app for counting things. Like literally you just click plus or minus, right? That's the whole premise. The next one is a web app for creating project estimates. You can put in time and estimates for hours and all that kind of stuff. The next one is signature.email. It's an online editor for email signatures. And finally, we have WP Client Reports, which is a WordPress plugin that allows developers to email monthly maintenance reports to their clients. So out of those 4, I know some of you know me, you're cheating, don't say anything. Out of those 4, which one, decide in your head, do you think is the main one? All right, you got your answer? All right, so the truth is signature.email is my primary product. How many people guessed it? All right. Let's say about 20% maybe. So yeah, signature.email is a tool. It's a drag and drop tool where designers, developers, marketing people can drag in as many fields as they want, as many images as they want. I found that a lot of the competition didn't allow you to you have 3 phone numbers? Oh, sorry, we only allow 2. You want another image? Oh, sorry, can't do that. So this is just really free form. You can add things everywhere. You can change everything. You can change all the colors. And then when you're ready, you can share it out to your company as a signature generator link. So it is freemium. You can start making a signature for free, which I think has helped the product immensely. And then when you're ready, you can pay for either more features, more functionality, or to be able to share it out with your company. So with that said, how do you figure out which idea is going to work for you? I think the first step is just to become problem aware. You should be looking everywhere for problems. You should be talking to everybody. You should have that notebook with random scribbles that you wake up at 4 a.m. and you're like, yeah, this is a great idea. And then in the morning you read it and you're like, I don't know what that was. But yeah, you got to just be talking to people, figuring out, what works and what doesn't, what problems people have, and how you could solve them. You got to have the notebook. Some people say you should be thinking about 5 ideas a day and then, throwing them all away and finding more. So, I think that's where to start. And then the big place to start is this a problem that a lot of people have? A lot. I know some people talk about niches and you should really niche down, and there's value to that, there's truth to that, but you still you have to think about your market and how big it really is. With that tally count example, I thought that was next. With that tally count example, sorry, I'm moving ahead. So let's talk about how many people. Tyler Tringus, he says, I got to be able to find the first 25 customers, and if I can't, the idea is toast, right? And then I start to think about how I can get the next 250 customers in a more scalable way to reach a large group. So you have to be able to do that. If you can't think of that right away at the beginning, then your idea probably doesn't have a lot of validity. You got to think about how are people looking for this solution? How are they thinking about it? All that kind of stuff. Talk to people who are in the target audience. That's really good. One of the ways that I recommend, not everything is through search engines, but it's a great way to start, because when people have problems, they often go to Google and start typing. So this is various keyword tools that you can use. Some of you, if you're an SEO person, then you know all about this, but you can use it for research too. So this is keywords everywhere. It's a Chrome extension. You can just put $10 in it and use it. And what it does is it adds to your Google results. So you can see up at the top, I've typed in email signatures. You can see the volume. It's added this little line below it. 135,000 people a month search for email signatures, which was a surprise to me. And then below, it's going to show you other keywords that people are relatedly searching for and the volume for each of them. It also can kind of start to tell you a little bit about the competition and stuff like that. So once you've answered that question about how many people might actually want your solution, then the next step is how many people will actually spend money on that solution, right? So I was bringing up that tally count idea, and this one I kind of saw. I was using one of these keyword tools, and I was like, wow, a lot of people search for these counting tools every month, and the ones that they search for are terrible. They're really awful, and I can make something better than that in a weekend. So I did, but not too many people are willing to pay for a counting tool, right? I get 23,000 people a month coming to my website now, which is cool. And I made a pro plan, but it's not really that great of a product because not that many people are looking for a pro counting tool, as great as my pro features are. So, in general, that probably means you need to be thinking about businesses, right? Like consumers just are in a very different mindset. You know, you show a consumer a $5 app on the App Store, and they're like, ugh, $5. How could you ask that one-time cost from me? This is awful. You have to provide so much value for what you're asking them to pay for that it's really hard as a bootstrapper to do a consumer app. So in general, business to business is significantly better. Businesses are, looking to solve problems, right? And they generally have more money than time. So if you can solve something that makes them more money or gives them back a lot of time, then that's going to be a lot better. And then another way to think about it, you've probably heard this before, you don't want to make a vitamin product, right? Like a vitamin product is a nice to have. It's like, oh, I know I should be doing this thing. I know it'd be good for me. I know it'd probably help me, but I'll do it later, right? Like that's a vitamin product. And you want to be more in the mindset of making a painkiller product where when people learn about your solution, they're like, oh my gosh, I need that. When can I buy it? When can I have it, right? Like they really are going to get excited about it and they're ready to buy like right away. Another way to think about it is if it earns people money, like if you can make a product that they pay a little bit of money for and they can earn more money from from using your product, that's a great way. So the tricky thing is, this is a great thing to think about, will people spend money on my product? It's very hard to prove early on, right? You can put up a landing page, you can try to get pre-sales, that kind of stuff. Not a lot of people are willing to do that. Sometimes you can talk face-to-face with somebody and say, if I built this thing, would you buy it? Or would you give me X amount of money right now? And sometimes that works, but it is a tricky thing to do. So, man, if only there was a way to figure out how people are spending money on products. Well, there is. It's competition, right? Like, I used to be in the mindset that, competition is a terrible thing. I need to make a unique product that no one else has ever made before. And a big light bulb happened for me, really with signature.email, is I was listening to a podcast, Indie Hackers, and they had Jason Cohen on, from founder of WP Engine, and he said, I don't think being unique is mandatory, especially in well-established markets where there's already tons of competitors, huge amounts of money being spent total in the market. That's probably another market, or a market where you can add another competitor. So that was like, oh, I had this email signature idea for a long time. I had this little tool that I gave my freelance clients, and they found it pretty useful. And I thought, I should make that for as a tool that other people could use. And I had thrown that idea away because I was like, I did a search for email signature, pulled up 20 other competitors, and I thought, I don't think that's right. So that was actually the quote that got me to start working on signature.email again. And that has done a lot of good things for me. Competition does the market research for you, right? Like you can prove that people, a mass of people, are spending money on this thing, and it doesn't need to be all new. In fact, I'd say like for you to create a new market, at this software that no one has ever heard of or used before, is going to be really hard for you as a bootstrapped founder. That's, even if you think about the iPod and how, we all loved music already. We all spent money on music already, but even the iPod was like this newfangled thing a number of years ago, and how much advertising dollars Apple had to spend just to get people to be like, I need one of those, right? I'm willing to spend $200 on it or something like that. So that doesn't mean that you just copy, right? You're gonna go in and you're gonna start thinking about like, okay, the competitors have this, here's what their customers are complaining about, here's what they don't have, here's a niche that is underserved by that competition. There's various other ways you can make it cheaper or more expensive. There's all sorts of different levers you can pull on. But in general, competition is a great thing. So put a different spin on it. And then the other thing to really think about that I don't think a lot of, as you're just thinking about these fun side projects, you're not thinking that choosing an idea is choosing the market, right? Like, you can make an idea, but if you choose the wrong market, your idea is shot from the beginning. So you want to think about how many people are in the market. Are they actively looking for a solution like yours, right? Like, do they have budgets for that kind of thing already? What are they spending money on? Or even, well, it also determines how much they'll pay for it, right? We already talked about consumers versus businesses. I can also tell you that, like, a preschool is going to have a lot less money to spend on a tool than, you know, an enterprise company or something like that. So that also makes a lot of pricing decisions for you already before you even get started. So there's a lot of intangible factors as well. Like, I was thinking about an idea for landscapers, and I have a few friends who are landscapers, and I thought, oh, this is a great idea. Like, they're kind of, a lot of them are kind of these solo, you know, people with a team that does the work, and, you know, the problem is, I can't get hold of a landscaper to save my life. Like, I actually did a website trade with my landscaper. He did my landscaping. I was supposed to make him a website. I call him every winter and say, I want to finish your website for you. And we still haven't. It's been 4 years. So I was thinking, this is a terrible idea. Landscapers have no time to implement a new solution, right? Like, so maybe, I don't know. That's my guess anyway, is that might not be a good market. Justin Jackson, the founder of Transistor FM, says, if business was surfing, the market would be the wave. The strength of your market's pull, or the size of your wave, is dictated by how many people want a solution and how much they'll pay for it. The product is a lot like the surfboard. It's important, but only if you're able to catch a good wave, right? So, again, the market that you choose is super important. He also uses this word called market pull. You want to look for market pull. And Julian Shapiro, I just heard the other day, say, market pull is when consumers reflexively want a product upon learning of it, and they're willing to do whatever is required to get it. Market pull is the force behind product market fit. So I've felt that a few times in various things I've made. I've also not felt it a number of times. You launch something and nothing happens. But I can say, like, for that WordPress theme I mentioned, it was called Sports Team Theme, very creatively named, I know. But I literally put up a landing page, and within 2 weeks, I had 2 or 3 people being like, I want this for my sports team theme, when can I have it? And I was like, oh, it's actually not done yet, but I'll give you a beta soon. Like, you know, and that was great motivation for me to get it done. And that WordPress theme went on to make, over the course of maybe 4 or 5 years, I think like 40 grand or something like that. So that was really great. I could feel the market pull immediately upon launching that landing page. Signature.email has market pull. I can feel that. I have people, you know, I have one of those little chat widgets on the site. People are messaging me every week or so and saying, oh, this is so cool. I love this product. Like, I'm so glad you made this. And just stuff like that. And they're like really invested in my product. They're like, oh, can you add this feature? Can you do this? How do I do this with your thing, right? And it's really rewarding, but it also shows that people want the thing that you're making. So then the big question is, how do you find these customers, right? So we already talked a little bit about search engines. Maybe some of you are SEO experts. I don't think I am, but I have had to learn a lot, because that's a great way to get traffic to your site or to your tool or whatever. You got to learn a little bit about it. A great place to start is existing ecosystems, right? So there's all these places, these marketplaces around, like the WordPress App Store, like the Shopify Store, like the iOS App Store. There's Chrome plugin directory, right? Stripe just launched their own like app thing where you can build an app inside of Stripe. Those are great tools because there's already an audience on those marketplaces looking for a solution, and you just need to be the right tool at the right time there, but they're already there, right? So that's often a great place to start. You can make use of things like Facebook groups or other communities around. Find these like-minded professionals that have gathered into these groups and they often go into like tool talk, right? Like they're like, what do you use for this? How do you do this? What do you solve for that? You know, all these kind of questions. And you don't always have to jump in and be like, use my thing, you know, because often they'll kick you out right away. But if you just listen sometimes, and every once in a while you can be like, well, I did make this thing, and they will listen if you're careful about how you do that. There's all sorts of places online where you can get articles written or lists. There's all sorts of top 10 lists. That's actually one of the biggest drivers. Search engine is the biggest driver to signature.email. Otherwise, I just wrote like crazy all these articles that were talking about the top 10 email signature generators. And I bugged them like once a week for months. Okay, maybe not quite that much, but it was a lot. And said, hey, can you add my thing? I know you have a top 10 list, but top 11 doesn't sound too bad. Or number 7 is a broken link. Please, can you replace it? You know, so that's a great way to get traffic to your site. Product Hunt is kind of in that same vein. Doesn't give you super long-term traffic, but it does do nice for a few days. Some people would swear by a social media following. Like I have like 300 followers or something, so I can't say that's worked great for me. But if you have a following, you can certainly make use of it, especially if your product is in the kind of social vein, then that's a great place to go. I would say in general, cold calling or emailing, yeah. That's a good question. In general, I'd say ads are tricky, especially for a bootstrap company. Like, this might start off as a side project for you. Putting in your own money always hurts a little more than like somebody else's money, right? And so even putting in $1,000 or, you know, more than that can be like, ooh, am I really ready to do that for this product, right? And often, I think I've found that it's just as hard. You got to be really good at Google Ads to make it worth it. Like, I use them a lot for research. So before you can get listed by search engines, I'll put a couple $100 into Google Ads and see, can I get people to click on this? You know, what kind of words are they using that I can use? All that kind of stuff is great. But I often find to get people to convert, you know, ads cost anywhere from $1 to tens of dollars for a click. And then half the people, you know, 80% of the people leave your site within 10 seconds. And then the people that stay, you know, maybe they do the free sign up, but they never convert. And it's just trying to get your funnel that good for a new product. Yeah, that is, yep. So, and then I guess the other thing I'd say is if you can build a tool, I mean, this really depends on what you're building, but if you can build a tool that has like a viral loop inside of it, it's called product-led acquisition. So this would be the kind of thing where you are building something that allows someone to come in and create something, whether it's a calendar invite, piece of artwork, a Dropbox where you're storing your files, but then they share it out to their friends, right? And your logo, your website is somewhere on that shareable thing. And then they invite 10 of their friends to check out their thing. And then 10 of their, you know, some of their friends come back, they sign up and they're sharing out with 10 of their friends. Then that's kind of that viral product-led acquisition. If you can build that, that's a great tool right there. So I haven't found one of those yet, but hopefully you can think of one. Yeah, I guess I'd say if you're a coder, get ready to write, but get ready to write more than code, because I've found that while adding new features to signature.email is great, not that many people want that many more features. What I can do to grow my business is write more articles and content, and that's been a really huge thing for me. So be ready to write. Just some other notes, I guess. Pricing, no, it's not there right now, but pricing is tricky. Everybody knows we want SaaS, like subscription. That's the like golden egg, right? But I would say that one-time purchases are so much easier to get. Like a consumer or a business, even businesses sort of have this subscription fatigue. We've heard that term probably now. And everybody's like, oh, another monthly thing, another yearly cost, blah, 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 blah. And they really are not sure they want that. If you can just find a product that you're asking one time, people are 100 times more likely to buy it. So while it is harder for you you have to continue to bring in new revenue, that's the downside, right? But it is easier to make money. So that's a consideration. I guess I'd say you need to be charging more than like $5 a month. Like you're not going to be able to make it your full-time income if you're only charging $5 or $10. It's just not, you're going to have to find so many people. Like even signature.email starts at like $19, both as a one-time thing and a subscription. And I mean, I might even need to move that up. I don't know. Like it's doing it. It has done it. But I would say that might be almost the lowest point of entry. So signature.email, I didn't say this, is a mix of both. It's as an individual, you can just go on, and if you want one of the kind of pro features, you can spend $19 for your signature. It's a one-time cost. You get it for your life, and then you can continue to edit it or do whatever. And then the businesses is a subscription. If you want to share that signature out to your company, then that's a monthly or a yearly cost. So it's kind of a weird mix. I don't know too many products that do that, but it's worked so far. Let's see. I guess another thing to think about is this the right idea for me? There's some just kind of meta level stuff like, can I build it, in a reasonable amount of time without it taking too long? Is this a business I even want to run? Like, I can say looking back, email signatures, I mean, they're good. I'm glad they're making my income now, but they're kind of a funny thing to be in. And I write and think and talk about email signatures a lot now. I mean, so you just got to be wary of like, what is this business that you're starting, and do I really want to be serious about it? Customer support is a thing. Like, some products need a lot more customer support. There's a lot more investment, and some products need less. And try to think about that a little bit in terms of what your product is going to be and what it could need. And then I guess the last thing is just what kind of business you want to run. Like, if you want to just be a solopreneur by yourself running this thing, that's only certain kinds of businesses that can do that. Do you want to run a team? Do you want it to grow? All those kind of things are important. So, just other thoughts about launching things. Your first version will always stink, but you just got to launch it anyway. I know it's hard. I know you never feel like it's ready, and it just needs the few more features. I actually am relaunching something on Tuesday on Product Hunt. It's an old product, and I've had it redesigned and redeveloped now. It's been up live again for like 3 months. And I've been delaying launching on Product Hunt because I wanted to add one more thing. And finally I admitted to myself, like, that one more thing will not make a difference. So I'm just gonna launch it. We'll see how it goes. You should be kind of embarrassed by that first version. That's okay. It can't have all the features you planned on. You need to focus on the most important ones. And your customers should still, find it useful and valuable. You can't launch something that does nothing, but there's a very hard balance there. So hopefully you can find that. This is a really encouraging note. It's called the long, slow SaaS ramp of death. That's what some people have called it. So if you want to develop a SaaS, it's a long, slow ramp of death. Really encouraging. It doesn't have to be a death ramp, though. If it starts as a side project where you have a job, you have an income, you can just start this thing, put it out there, and then it can grow slowly over the years. I can give you a little bit of a timeline for signature.email. I coded it mostly in the spring of 2019. It was mostly done, kind of finished it-ish over the summer. And I kind of started to put it out there on Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff like that in the fall. And my uncle thought it would be a cool thing, so he bought it for his company. That was about it. I think I had one random purchase that fall, and I was so excited by it, and then they canceled a month later. So I was like, winter of 2020, a few other people signed up. I got like a yearly payment of $3.99, which was like mind-blowing, That was awesome. And then it really wasn't until I took it really seriously, and I talked to some friends, and I was like, I got to launch this for real. Like, I'm going to put it on Product Hunt. I'm going to buy some advertising. I'm going to put some real money into this. I'm going to keep begging these. Like, one of the big things was one of these articles that I wanted to get on. They said, oh, well, this is actually an advertisement, and it costs $900 for, a spot in our article. And it won't even be a Google link. It'll be like a no follow link, right? So it has no Google reputation to it. I was like, $900 for this link. Like, how can I spend that money? But I finally did. My wife was very encouraging, and it was totally worth it. That link still provides, 30 clicks a day or something like that. So that's very worth it. And it just takes a little bit of kind of believing in it and being serious about it. And honestly, even though that did work well in the spring of 2020, it's been a really slow ramp after that. I just went mostly full-time on it this year. So yeah, I guess the question is then, how do you get started? You can get started however you want. You can make a project for fun. You can, do the venture capital kind of thing if you really want. Like, it's up to you. I personally would recommend just make something that's fun enough to do in your own time. Launch it on the side. Be serious about it, keep pursuing it. But I would recommend this kind of stair-step approach. So this is Rob Walling's graphic here. He kind of recommends start with something small. Start with a smaller idea, right? Like, do something on a WordPress plugin or a Shopify thing, or maybe it's a course, or just something that you can kind of sink your teeth into selling online, right? And being used to that and having some customers. And then take it to the next level, okay, make a second one, or I don't know what that second step is, but try something new. And then maybe later is when you're ready to do the software as a service thing. Maybe you don't jump to step 3 right away. So in conclusion, I guess I'd just say these are the 2 podcasts I listen to pretty frequently. Startups for the Rest of Us is by Rob Walling. Indie Hackers is by Corning Allen, I think. I don't know, I just kind of took my own course in entrepreneurship. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just try to learn. These are 3 books I'd recommend if you're really serious about doing this kind of bootstrapped approach. Start Small, Stay Small is Rob Walling's kind of book. It's like this talk, but a lot more in depth and goes into a lot more of the steps about how you can kind of build it. This book is kind of similar. It's actually only an online book, but it kind of has the steps involved for growing a business like this. And finally, The Mom Test is a great read by Rob Fitzpatrick. It talks about interviewing your customers really early on and, kind of asking your mom, is this a good idea? If you ask that question, your mom says, sure, honey, that's a great idea. And that everybody wants to be nice. And so if you ask that question, everybody's going to say, that's a really great idea. You should totally do that. But they're lying to you, right? They're not telling you the truth. So he gives you a bunch of great ways to ask questions of customers and see, are they actually invested? Will they actually spend money? All that kind of stuff. So yeah, went out again. You can find me at jessesutherland.com. If you need yourself an email signature, head over to signature.email. I've seen some of your company's email signatures. They're pretty bad. And then I'm on Twitter at thejester12. So thanks.